Well, hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Geometry Tier Making series. Today is episode 5. It is yet another Thursday, July 30th, 2026. And in today's episode, we're going to be going over specific 2.2 features, the more major updates of 2.2. So last week we went over just generic game modes. Originally I had planned on including the swing copter game mode in there, but I ended up forgetting as a whole. It just completely flew out of my head. So that was fine. So I'll just be covering the swing copter in this video, because it is a 2.2 game modes, it is a 2.2 feature, so it'll just be in the 2.2 features video instead of the game modes video. Alright, so here we go. So we're gonna have some pretty short video, except for the very last video. Last video is an absolute like grand finale sort of video. That's gonna be a long video, but for now, though, we have some pretty short episodes. We're not ranking too many things. We're keeping it light. We started off the episode with a lot as well. So, we're going to start off this episode with camera controls. That's the next one. The first one, I mean. So, the camera controls is one of the biggest changes ever in this whole game. I mean, a lot of the 2.2 features are, so I probably shouldn't be repeating that same thing over and over again. But camera controls, so when they first came out, when I first got accustomed to 2.2, camera controls tripped me up crazily, like so crazy to the point where a level that had a camera control, it just rage baited me, and I just couldn't bear it. And it took me like 30 tries to sight read even a 6-star level at that point. But now, as a person who has gotten used to camera controls, it's actually a really cool touch. Not S tier, probably an A tier, honestly, maybe A or B. It's actually really cool. Yeah, here you can see here, this doesn't have the reverse trigger, but I actually like the reverse trigger quite a lot. That's one of my favorite camera controls. And then the offsets, zoom, the kind of rotate, the rotate might be the reverse trigger. I'm not 100% sure because I don't use the editor. But main point of emphasis is that camera controls can actually be cool. So camera controls, I'm gonna say A or B? Maybe A? They are cool, they kind of impede sight readability. I mean, that's like the main con. The main con, they're really cool, like no doubt. But the main thing is that they impede sight readability, and so kind of makes levels a little more annoying in that regard, especially as a star grinder. Which is why maybe from a star grinder's perspective might be B tier. Okay, so next is the platformer mode. So this is actually an interesting touch. It is a platformer game, but obviously the icons move on their own, right? Like that's how we've been used to in this game, where it just moves automatically. But in the platformer, you use arrows to actually move it, like as if you're playing a platformer game like Mario Kart, right? Well, I mean, Mario Kart, I mean, maybe that was a bad comparison, but anyway, but you get the point. It's just like a basic platformer game in a platformer mode. It's kind of actually cool. I actually would say A tier. So it's actually, I like that. I hate how it is on phone, but I don't want to be biased just because I play on phone. The double player, the 2-player versions are horrible on phone. I just can't play those on phone. I mean, I've been a couple. I've been even an Easy Demon platformer, but it's still really annoying to do that. Alright, so the next one is the particle effects. So the particles, basically the particles that fall, so like you can have snowflakes fall down, you can have like wind breeze kind of thing. So that's cool. That's definitely A tier. That's a cool element. Again, like a lot of things, it can impede sight readability because it can be a distracting feature, but in terms of the editor variability, it's actually really cool. So I'm going to say above platformer A tier. Uh-oh. I don't know if I'm going to put any S tiers, if I'm being honest. Oh, what? How did this happen? What? That's strange. I think it was my laggy computer. Okay, so the next one is the keyframe. So now keyframe is more particularly catered towards people who actually use the editor, so I can't give an accurate rating for this one. I mean, I just know it's like it makes moving objects easier to handle in the editor. That's all I can say. So instead of like spamming like a bunch of different triggers, you can use keyframes to kind of not have to spam triggers in the editor. So I guess from an editor standpoint, I don't know anything else about it. I'll just put it in the A tier just cause that's what I hear. I'll put it below the shaders, or sorry, the particles. Alright, so the next one is the shaders. So the shaders are kind of interesting in the fact that you can kind of pixelate the screen while playing. You can blur the screen. You can add you can make the screen look a little distorted, if you will. So this is obviously a new concept. You'll notice a lot of this is kind of used a lot in pixel levels especially, but that's kind of, I don't know, I'm not sure if I completely support that though, cause like the blurring is kind of weird, just pixelating it. I mean, it's I don't know, I would say more B tier, like lowest one out of all of them. Okay, so the next one is the time warp. Ooh, okay, so the time warp is kind of fun. So we know the famous time warp wave levels, very common recent, I don't know if it still is, but at least it was a popular recent tap trend, especially when 2.2 first came out. Time warp is interesting. Basically, you can like dramatically slow down the gameplay, and so a seemingly tight wave is actually very doable. That's kind of what it is. I don't know, like I feel like there's also like a sense of like heart beating kind of thing, because like it looks really hard, and then you actually just control that data, and oh, it's actually a time warp, so like it's actually easy, but that sense of like a heart drop sort of thing is kind of a little strange. So I'm going to say time warp. I would say C tier because I don't really support that at all. I don't understand the hype behind it, honestly. Event level is 100% S tier. Come on. Seriously? Why is this happening? Go back down here. I'll do gravity portal, I think was the next one. Look at that, it's just my laggy computer. Anyway, so event levels, definitely S tier. They are some of the best levels I've played consistently. They're always, at the very least, epic. They're usually mythic or legendary. Very insanely pretty levels. And one of those event levels that you're going to be seeing, I don't remember if it's next week or in a couple weeks when we do the showcase levels. One of my favorite level is on that list, and that was an event level. Very pretty. The event levels are great. I wish we had the event levels a bit more frequently. That's my only complaint. Like, I'm not saying to have one every day or even every week, but at least one's like bi-weekly or something. But instead, we usually have one like once every like 2 months or something. Like bi-monthly, if that's a word. Anyway, so that's the event levels. So there you go, S tier there, right there. Okay, so next is the gravity portal. So this is like high or low gravity. With low gravity, you jump like way higher. With low gravity, or so with high gravity, you barely jump. Right? So, did I just say the opposite by accident? With low gravity, you jump a lot higher. With high gravity, you barely jump, basically. So, with the ship and the UFO, the gravity feels extremely awkward, I will be very honest, but it is actually kind of cool. It makes the level more interesting, but like I said, with ship and UFO, it feels extremely awkward. So I will say the gravity thing is probably a low A for me. I think below platformer, so let's do that. And then the next level is what is this again? So sound effects. So sound effects are absolute kiss in the lips though. Sound effects are, I'm so glad this was added. It actually makes the level so much more interesting to play with sound effects. So I would say actually that this is a low S, like right below events. Event level, absolute S, though, for sure. Okay. So now it's time for the last thing, and that is going to be the swing copter. Now, the swing copter portal, I don't like the swing copter. It's the most major complaint. I know it's also the most hated game mode, and also you can't even see like when you're changing gravity. Like, it doesn't show you what gravity the swing copter is in that moment. You're gonna have to wait like just 1 second to figure out which way the swing copter is going, and sometimes you don't even have a whole second to react to something, and it gets a little tricky. That's my major complaint with swing copter, though now I've gotten more used to it because it's been 2.5 years with 2.2 already, but still, the swing copter is a very tricky game mode. And so obviously that's like what I said, my major critique is also one of the most major criticisms of the whole community when it comes to the swing copter. It is majorly hated on. It's a cool concept, and I see what RobTop tried to do, but it's very inconvenient that you can't see which way your swing copter is going, and that gets on my nerves, and I'm pretty sure it gets on a lot of people's nerves. It's not just me. So because of that, it's a cool concept, so I'm not doing F tier, but it is enough for me to put it on the D tier. So that is it for this ranking episode. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. As always, let me know what you agree and disagree with me on, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.